Hey guys, this is going to be sort of a brief talk about Pyewacket. That was our text for last week. We're not going to do a talk about Matthew Bartlett, but he may show up again. I don't know. We'll see. We might do something with him. So maybe you read some of that, maybe you didn't. Pyewacket is just sort of I think it's a little bit of a unique spin on the demonic entity story. So hopefully you watched that and enjoyed it. I'm mostly interested in the trickster element of it. Pyewacket seems to be sort of a Loki kind of figure, if you're familiar with him from Norse mythology. So he's sort of mischievous and likes to create problems and mesmerizes Leia, I believe her name is, in the film. And then I paired that with the question about mass media because I think that in a lot of ways, American mass media has become sort of a demonic entity in people's lives. You know, if you think about the effect of television and the effect that that's had on our culture and the way people have sort of invited that into their homes, the way that we use these things to invite entities into our homes or invite voices into our homes that have a tremendous power and a tremendous influence over us. We hand them to our children now. We sit around the dinner table and look at them. And I don't think we can underemphasize the power that these things have to influence the way that we think. It doesn't mean that people aren't capable of critical thinking, but I definitely think it's affected us. I think mass media is very much about propagating fear and division. I think that fear drives a lot of what is produced through mass media now. There's been tons written on this since World War II. You know, many people don't know that Edward Bernays, who was Sigmund Freud's nephew, was very much involved in the creation of Madison Avenue, which is where a lot of American advertising came from. A lot of the propaganda techniques were borrowed from the Nazis, and the Nazis were kind of masters at that. And so we've invited this stuff in, and now it's been spread throughout the world. You know, the influence of television and the internet and social media has just kind of spread like wildfire. And so I think it's very difficult to navigate this world when you're constantly inundated by these voices that are trying to mesmerize you and convince you to live certain ways, to think certain ways, to buy certain things. And to get free of that, maybe you need an exorcism. So maybe you need an exorcism of these devices from your life. So maybe you should figure out a way to unplug from the matrix, if you will. And I think the other side of that is, has our society become something different? Have these things pushed us to a place where we're not as compassionate, we're not as empathetic, we're more self-centered, we're more narcissistic? Do we live our lives out of fear? And whether that's fear of living up to people's expectations or fear that something's going to happen to our lives or the way that we want to do things, are we under the sway of some greater power that maybe we don't quite realize? So a lot of things to think about there. I don't know really the answer to those questions. I do think these things have a tremendous effect on us. And I think we have to constantly be swimming upstream. And I think we have to constantly be aware of the voices that we're letting have access into our lives. And we want to make sure that those voices are positive, and that those voices are encouraging us to aim for things that are higher and more noble, right? Because your aim is certainly going to dictate the trajectory of your life. So you want to aim for things that are high and noble and kind of step outside yourself. And maybe the highest aim that we should have is to make our lives about serving and loving and caring for other people. So not something we hear very much in mass media. the voices there are always, I think, encouraging us to be self-centered and narcissistic and sort of demonic in our behavior. So, but we want to try to resist that, right? We want to try to resist that and make our lives about something higher and more noble than that. And other people and serving them and helping them is definitely a way of doing that. So interesting movie. I'm not going to go, we don't need to go much deeper than that with it, but it's a fun spin, I think, on that genre. And it really just makes me think a lot about the voices that we all kind of let into our lives, especially for young people and how important that is. So hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week.